Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, let's talk about losses. Who wants to talk about losses? No, nobody wants to talk about losses. We're going to talk about losses. Here we are. Sand River, top tier in a two-tier battle. Probably going to lose, right? Since we're going to talk about losses. This is an encounter battle. I'm in my 50 TP, top tier and heavy. And I see a huge crowd going up to the north. So I figure, you know what? I'm actually going to take this down to the middle, and because I'm at heavy, I'm going to play some punchy face. Now, that is about as far as my positioning thoughts went on this one. I'd been playing for a little bit, probably a little bit tired. The ping was a bit of an issue, kind of spiking back and forth. So I go where it's easier to play a heavy tank. But look what look what my team is doing. They're investing completely up into the northeast. So a couple problems with this. If I get pushed hard down here, I'm probably in trouble because it's just me. Let's say I win, what am I going to do? I've basically taken my tank to a spot that is very problematic to flex from. If your team wins everywhere, you can have a good day down here. If your team doesn't win everywhere, you can have a very bad day right here. If you need to flex to help your team out of here, it's very difficult. Now, see, I got spotted. We don't have anybody up on the hills right there keeping these guys honest. And I get bounced. The FV gets a shot on me. I take a hit from the 430. I get ammo racked because I'm up and out in the open. And not a really great trade for me right there. T-32 comes forward. I'm going to come and look what they've got here. Look to see what they've got here. I figure it can't be much because I'm counting noses and there are a bunch up in the northeast. I know at least two of them are down there in the south up on the hills. I got the OHO in front of me, maybe a WZ and some other TDs up on their cap. Actually, there's no TDs in this game, never mind. Other tank on their cap, there's two that we're seeing. There's one of them. So the AMX is here and I get a shot into his turret. So we've got these guys. We got a 53 TP, but he's getting hit from something further back up there. Batchat 12T. And this is actually not a bad deal right here. It looks like we're going to come around here. Fortunately, I bounced that guy because I rushed the shot. I'd love to kill a 5100, but I'm not quite on the reload. And he's going to get around the corner. I don't want to chase him too much, and I do not want to leave the OHO on my side or shooting into my rear. Well, it looks like the 5100 is reloading, so I'm going to go ahead and help get rid of the OHO. Naturally, he blasts me, and there's a WZ up behind me. Getting hit by him. Gunner, or not my gunner, my driver's dead. I'm having a hard time turning around, so I need to back out of this because we're getting pinched. 53 TB is attempting to survive all this. 4202 does not want to come down, and I back out. So they're still fighting up in the northeast. It's fairly neutral. I've come down here, and we've pushed a little hard into them, and now we're getting pinched because we put nobody into the southern area to punish the guys up in the city above us. Long reload on this tank. I've got to wait for it to come back to me. See if I can just take the top turret out of this guy, and pretty lucky on the RNG would get him done. There's the 430 that hurt me earlier. There's still a 4202 above us, so I'm going to turn around, fix my driver there, and head back up to try to take on this 430. This piece of terrain where the 430 is has changed. You can actually go up and over and through right there now. Remember, it used to be a solid hill and you had to come down and around in order to get back onto what is usually the cap area down here. But now you can go through, and you can see that he goes in there and owns the VTU that was camping in the back. T-49's got him spotted. I'm going to come up here, use these bushes a little bit in this hold down spot, put a thump on him. Nice roll at 622 actually, hugely high roll. And we're going to take a look for another shot here if we can keep him. Oh, he just gets away. T-34 is pushing my T-32. He's just about got him done. I really need this 430 dead. I don't want him behind me. And we're starting to slip away now, right? We're losing. It's 4-9. And where have I been? I said we'd talk about losing. Where have I been? This entire fight I've been down here. I got 2,200. But the real fight was up in the northeast, and it usually is on this map. It usually is. Because if you can win up there, then you can come down and you can take shots on the guys hanging out down the pit. In general, hanging out in pits in this game is not a great idea. I get a shot on the T-34, and I know that I've got trouble coming at me from the north up there. So I'm just going to risk it, try to cross here on the T-34 and see if I can't get up here and get a couple shots. I see some near dead, so I figure, well, maybe I'll be able to bring this back a little bit. I have a really hard time putting any kind of effective shot into the Carnarvon with his turret armor, another 8.8, and really I'm in a pickle now, and this is why this spot is just so difficult. My tank is slow anyway. I'm gonna have a really hard time flexing or going anywhere to get out of this. I could push into him, but between the 8.8's rate of fire and a T-34's hard-hitting gun, more than likely I don't survive a whole long. I don't survive a long time. Bulldog comes down. 257 hits me. I'm just trying to cover up as much as I can from the guys behind me and still keep this guy sighted, and I'll take that 76 hit point. Now I'm just going to try to drive. I want to drive up and out of this, but I can't quite get there because obviously people are shooting me from every direction. And that leaves the 430 who dies pretty quickly after that. So I said we'd talk about losses here. I did 4,000 damage, but I didn't position very well, and I went to a spot largely because I just didn't want to be bothered with worrying about being shot from different directions, although in a couple of cases I managed to do that anyway. And if you're going to play like that, yeah, you can go to those spots and you can play to your tank's strength, but if that's not what your team's doing, or if that's not what is called for on that tank to help you, on that map, not tank, to help your team win, i.e. a meta position kind of like the Northeast is on this, then sure, you can farm a bunch of damage, but you're going to end up with a loss. And it may be at the end of the day, some of those games are just going to happen, and the best you can do is to try to drop that 4,000 out of what's going to be a loss anyway. But it's always good to take a look at those battles and look at it with an honest eye and go, okay, yeah, if I'd have gone up to the Northeast and helped them win up there, we may have had a much better chance than me just going down and farming timid guys that are hanging down in this pit. And you will find in general that the timid guys are going down into this pit. If both teams invest a large percentage of their forces into the bottom hole right here, then that can certainly determine this map. It's just the weight of the HP that's lost if your team loses, or that you kill if your team wins, may carry the day. But in a case like this, where I go to what essentially is kind of a sideshow and do well, but ignore the big fight up in the north right there, largely because I couldn't quite get to it once I made the decision, then I'm probably going to end up with a loss in a situation like that. All right, guys, that is all I'm going to do on dissecting a 4,000 damage loss. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. As always, we will see you.